Hi, this is a very short video on how to make your course or program or live training relevant to your learners. And by relevant to learners, what I mean by that is making it live so that it can be seen in the learning library or in the My Learning area for an individual, including groups or teams. So the first thing you do, this is the test we were using earlier. You just scroll down. This is in settings. So I'm in author, I'm in a course. This is sort of the same for programs and live training. And what you have to do down here is you actually have to add your people. Now, if you add an individual learner, so if I added myself, it will come up with the email. And what will happen is you can see it will make it into my library, but it will also make it required. Now, we try not to use required because that is what we use for our mandatory training. So it will be better if you can add via a group or if you can add via just making it available in the library. So I'm actually going to remove that, and that's the easiest way to do it. But if you're doing a historical type, or if you know that the people are definitely going to be doing this course, then you can add them individually. And sometimes it's just quicker to do them individually if you've got 20 people. You can also add via a CSV, and in the CSV file, all that is an Excel spreadsheet, and you will need to add in everybody's email address. So really, it can be quicker to type their name and search them and add them that way than using a CSV if you have only a few numbers of people. But the main way you will use this is with groups. Now, the way the screen shares, you can't see it very well, but I'll just move that. So what we have here is all learners, and this is traditionally the way that you're going to put something in. So you can see that at the moment it says set relevance. So you click set relevance, and in the relevance here, you can choose out of 3 choices. Now, as I just said, I don't think we should be using required unless it's something to do with mandatory training. So we will recommend that you don't use that one. You can use recommended though, and you can use available in the library. But bear in mind that this is all learners that we're actually going to be doing this for. So if it's all learners, we would recommend that you use, unless it's something department-wide, then, and that could be something like a procurement course, it could be something like a WHS course, but something that is done generally that all staff would be recommended to do. That is where you would go all learners and click recommended. Most of the time, we just want to put it in the library. So we're just going to go available in the library. Now, you can hit save. Now, what else you can see now? So that will actually appear when you go in here into My Learning, it will actually appear in the Learning Library. The other thing you can do, and this is where, as a branch learning administrator, you might be using this quite a lot. We have set up some standard groups, and the groups are actually just based on division. So rather than putting it in the library, for example, for everybody, you might have created a lands and water. You might be in lands and water. So you can, if you type division, it will come up with some of the divisions. It'll actually come up with a few down here. So we're going to pick lands and water. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that as a recommended. Now we're also going to find a manager, because all managers in this platform come through with their learners as a group. So if you know that 3 different managers and all of their teams are required or recommended to do a course, you could actually search for them here. Now, I'm not a manager, but my manager is. So I will go and find my manager, which is Sonia Batty. And what I will do is I will add her in. And what that will do is all of her team, and there's 5 of us, that will add whatever I set the relevance to, and I'm going to say recommended. That will then add that into those people's areas. So at the moment, we've got an all learners in the library, division of lands and water as a recommended, and an individual manager and their team as recommended. So I'm actually going to publish this so that we can see it. Now, I think it's already been published. So it doesn't really matter. I'm going to delete this immediately after. The other thing you can do in here is you can actually add an attachment. So this is quite handy if you have some materials that you would like people to download. So let's just choose a file. I'm just going to put a Finance Essentials image on there because that's something I've got. It's a JPEG. And in here, you've got it's just a download button. So we will do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a refresh because it does take a little second for it to actually hit into the library. And I'm going to go into My Learning. And I'm going to scroll down into Recommended. And I should have this test. So I will go all the way down. And somewhere in here, I should have this test for training. There you go. So you can also see in here that it's grey. It means I've not started it. If you go up here, the one I've completed, you can see it's all blue and it's all completed. And just while we're in here, it's actually quite nice and you can put it on the grid view. So we can go down. People can also search in the library using that tag. So Lands and Water, that was a Lands and Water course. Hit Lands and Water. This one's actually been tagged with Crown Lands. Yeah, so anyway, they will come in here and they'll be in My Learning under Recommended because I've added it in. So I'll quickly go back into that course, so I go back into Author, and I will go Test for Training. I go back to Groups, and I'm going to take all of those off. But that's how you add relevance, and that's the same in programs, and it's the same in live training, except in live training we also have a session, so you'll have some other work in there as well. But bear in mind that, and remember that you will only add relevance in a course if it is a standalone course. If you are going to be adding this course as into a program outline where you will have maybe a course and a live training for a registration, or a course and a manager approval on a registration, you do not add relevance here, only later. So that's how you add relevance.